Alright, what's going on, y'all? Look, it's me in that picture thing that I made that I showed you guys yesterday. We are back, and today we are going to be doing an update on my rental teams. So, I ended up changing my rental teams quite a lot from, what I made in the beginning of the month. It was really just because I was in the mood to, keep making new stuff, so, instead of using my teams for one video, instead of using my teams for two videos, I wanted to just use them for one and just keep moving on, right? But ultimately that meant that we went through our teams kind of quick, and then we made new teams, and then it was like, oh, what about those other teams? But so we got this, and we're just gonna go over the teams that we have right now. And they'll probably be around for at least another week or two, probably 2 weeks, right? So thank y'all for tuning in as always. If you enjoyed the content, consider giving a like and subscribe. Helps grow the channel, the comments too especially. And, I also want to shout out the person who makes a lot of this music that I play. 7 gamer minutes. I mean, they don't make the music because obviously the music is from old Pokemon games most of the time or something like that, but they do make a lot of the music that I put in the background, so you could also go give them a sub and they would probably appreciate it. But talking about this first team, we've got in the top corner, buried by my face, is the Iron Thorns. So we've got an Assault Vest Iron Thorns on this team with Wild Charge, Crunch, Rock Slide, and Low Kick. So really not that much different of a spread than you would, or a move pool than you would run on Tyranitar. It's just usually, what would you replace Wild Charge with on Tyranitar? It's I just can't think of it right now for some reason, but there's usually a pretty straightforward move that always goes in that slot. But yeah, I mean, we're really running it pretty similarly to how you do run T-Tar, and this team is ultimately a Trick Room team, right? So we have Serena to stop priority, we have Mimikyu to help set up Trick Room, we have Fluttermane just to do big damage, honestly, and then we have Torkoal for enabling Fluttermane, but also being good in Trick Room and pressuring things to are you really gonna just not target Torkoal right now? You know what I mean? So we can actually just see really good success by just starting Torkoal Fluttermane and just clicking Eruption, Dazzling Gleam, because it's if you avoid the Torkoal, I'm literally just going to do Eruption, and if you feel you are so pressured by Torkoal that you have to avoid Fluttermane, I have a Choice Specs special attack boosted Dazzling Gleam or something coming your way, right? So we've got some really nice synergy, I think, with this team, and the one thing that has ever felt lacking, I feel is kind of just Serena. But I mean, U-turn is nice, Bullet Seed is nice, High Jump Kick can hurt your soul when you miss it, but yeah, that's what it is. We have Rock Terra Serena because it just felt really good to combat Serena's problems. Flying is a problem, Ice is a problem, Fire is a problem, and Rock Terra deals with all of those for not very effective, so it's actually really a nice Terra on Serena, if you ask me. Then we've got the Life Orb Mimikyu. This is really good for dealing with Fluttermanes, Goldangos. Play Rough is really good into King Lose, actually, so you do have that. We have Steel Terra to just keep Mimikyu around. I do think that in general, Steel Terra has turned out to be really nice for Pokemon that are this typing. I mean, I guess it's just the fairy, but even with Fluttermane too, right? Fluttermane and Mimikyu are the same type, and they both really like being Steel Terra. Fourthly, we do have that Torkoal, the Earth Power Heat Wave Eruption Torkoal. That does mean Wide Guard can be a problem, but you also, I think, have the tools to deal with most Wide Guard users, and just like try to be aware of what might have wide guard, right? Like I think that's kind of important. So yeah, we already talked about the Flutter Mane. It is Fire Terra because Fire Terra is another really good Terra type for it, and especially on a team like this where, you know, you really need to make sure you're dealing with Amoonguses before you set up Trick Room. And I mean, pretty much just that, right? But like Fire Terra is also really good for dealing with some of the problems that we would face with like Steel types, right? And then lastly, we just have the Citrus Berry Tinglu because we have AV on the Iron Hands. The Iron Thorns. And yeah, I mean, you know, it's pretty standard moveset, like Stomping Tantrum, Rock Slide, Throat, Chop, Heavy Slam. I definitely understand that, like, Fissure is a good move, and I probably could use Fissure, but, like, I'm not. So I think this moveset's okay, but like Tinglu all in all can end up being too passive at times, and that's why sometimes you actually want to run it like more offensively, which is, you know, we'll see a choice band Tinglu team later that I'm going to use in the global challenge. But just talking about common leads really quick before we move on, I think Mimikyu Torkoal is a really solid lead. Like Mimikyu Flutter Mane can also work. Torkoal Flutter Mane is really solid. I think Iron Thorns a lot of the times comes in the back, but like with that being said, it's not that it can't come in the front. Like Serena really feels like it doesn't serve as big of a purpose on this team, mostly because like what do you really need Serena for when you have a ghost type Trick Room setter, right? Like, are you stopping Prankster Murkrow taunts? Like, is that really what the problem is? It's been nice for Talonflame, I'll say that. Like, I've started Serena in front of Talonflame, and they, like, try to click Brave Bird, and I'm like, dude, no, like, you know what I'm saying? So let's get ready to change this song. And so, yeah, I mean, like, all in all, I do feel really solid about this team. It's just, you know, it can be a little situational, but, you know, what team isn't, right? Like, you gotta think clearly about your starting Pokemon and your win conditions. Like, so this second team in the top corner, we have a AV Glamora. Funny that it's another AV Pokemon in that slot. We've got the AV Glamora with, ooh, I did not change it to Mortal Spin. That's okay. I think we'll survive. I do think that this team is generally solid, and like, while Mortal Spin works, like, there has been instances where I used this team versus something like Iron Hands, where I was like, okay, so like, if they turn into a Grass Terra right now, I click Power Gem. If they stay a regular form, I click Moonblast, right? So like, I double target them with Moonblast, Sludge Bomb, sorry, not Power Gem, and then they turned into a grass type, and then they died. So like, you do benefit, I think, from having Sludge Bomb actually. So yeah, the Grass Terra Glamora is really good Terra for dealing with the 4x ground weakness. We do have Clear Smog on this Amoonguss, which, I don't know, that's just what we got, you know what I mean? Like, I do think Pollen Puff is better right now, but like, Clear Smog is what I had decided at this point was what I wanted to use. And I mean, it's not like Dondozo is not running around. Like, Dondozo is definitely still a Pokemon, and like, you can see it sometimes. So like, Spore's good, Clear Smog's good. Sometimes that is going to be your best answer to Dondozo. But yeah, it is what it is. Dark Terra Amoonguss. With this Gyarados, this is actually the only team that I had in the original video that is still available for this month. So good job, team. We've got a Life Orb Gyarados with Earthquake, Protect, Dragon Dance, Waterfall. I did make this before people started using support Gyarados, so I was a little ahead of the curve on the Glamora Gyarados Flutter Mane Chi train, right? But I generally actually do feel really comfortable with the Chi-Yu Gyarados, Fluttermane, and Moongus core, so that's really nice. The Ground Terra on Gyarados for, obvious reasons, like no one wants to get hit with an electric move when you're 4 times weak to it. Life Orb for extra damage, right? Like, can be nice. We have the Focus Sash Fluttermane with D-Gleam, Shadow Ball, Moonblast, Protect. This is like one of the first times that I actually ran Moonblast and Dazzling Gleam. Like, I almost never run Moonblast. It's usually like Icy Wind or like Trick Room Imprison or something weird like that, right? But it can also be really good in times. Going on, we have the Ghost Terrachu with Choice Specs. This thing can be very, very clutch. Like, the homie Chasm Rift used my team on stream on his channel, so also shoutouts to Chasm. But Choice Specs Dark Pulse OHKOing a Rotom and then almost OHKOing a Garchomp is kinda ridiculous. Like, I saw that and I was like, bro, what is this thing doing? Like, why is Dark Pulse doing so much damage? So, yeah, I mean, like, Chi-Yu with Choice Specs really does a lot of damage, and while I don't think it's the best Chi-Yu spread, like, it can work, and on this team it feels pretty good, honestly, so. Lastly, we do have that Roaring Moon. You do need to, like, Terra into flying if you want to guarantee OHKO and a Moongus, so, like, you do have to remember things like that, but I do think even when you're not getting the attack boost on Roaring Moon, like, Booster Energy Roaring Moon is still really good. And so, like, yeah, Protect, Acrobatics, Throat Chop, Tailwind, still a good set. Like, we will take it. And so common leads on this team, I mean, I do like leading Roaring Moon a lot. Like, Roaring Moon Fluttermane is a pretty good lead. Roaring Moon Gyarados, Roaring Moon Amoonguss. Chi-Yu Fluttermane is obviously a good lead, like Chi-Yu Amoonguss is a very solid lead. Glamora is very, like, situational. I feel like it's kind of just, like, you just kind of think about it, like, does Glamora look good here? Probably. Glamora's always good, but Glamora stunts. So, like, yeah, you can start Glamora Gyarados, like, Glamora Amoonguss, I'm not going to sit here and just, like, rattle off leads, right? But the Pokemon have the ability to counter each other's weaknesses pretty well. Like, you can switch in Gyarados on a ground move if you need to, things like that. So, good stuff. Let's go on to my global challenge team that I'm going to be using later today in our live stream. So this is my global challenge team. I ended up kind of making another hard TR team, honestly. Like, I know hard TR is not, like, the best, but I do think that this team actually can do quite a lot outside of TR, which is really nice. So, in the top corner we have a Fire Terra Bronzong with Protect, Trick Room, Body Press, and Iron Defense. So you do need to make sure that Bronzong doesn't end up in a 1v1 versus, like, a Ghost type, right? Like, we do have the tech to deal with that. We have Tinglu, we have other moves. So, I mean, I do think generally, like, while this team actually looks like it lacks offensive pressure if you don't bring the right Pokemon, like, Iron Hands, Tinglu, and Arcanine are definitely our heavy hitters, and, like, they're not always Pokemon known for doing, like, crazy damage, especially when Arcanine's only moves that can do damage are Flare Blitz and Extreme Speed, right? But the Choice Band Tinglu is actually pretty nice, honestly. And, time to change the song. Like, the Choice Band Tinglu is actually going to be really nice on this team, if you ask me. We just need to be careful about, like, if we lead Iron Hands, we literally have to click, like, Volt Switch into Bronzong, and then if we're doing Earthquake things, right? Like, or you Terra Grass, right? And, like, I guess that's also a viable option, but it's not always going to be the play. Like, it's definitely not always going to be the best play. So, I think Choice Band Earthquake feels very situational, but it also feels very like can just wreck things, right? Like I've seen non-choice band Earthquake do like 80% to a Flutter Mane, so choice band Earthquake is just gonna OHKO it, right? And that means we don't have to feel pressured into locking into Heavy Slam, even though, I mean, there might be times where you do want to lock into Heavy Slam, so it's something to think about, right? Like, I guess I could have just ran Stomping Tantrum instead of Heavy Slam, but we'll see what happens. Going on, we have the Aguav Gastrodon with Fairy Terra. The Fairy Terra is definitely not as useful without Sylveon. Like, the original idea was that it's really good against, Liquidation, Order Up, Dondozo, right? So, like, if you need a Dondozo answer, you have it. And you also have an answer to Palafin, which is a really good Pokemon right now, right? Like, Palafin can still click Haze, so you do have to be careful about that. I lost to a close combat Palafin earlier, so you also have to be careful about that. But, you know, like, I really do think Gastrodon has a place in this meta, even though it can be kind of underwhelming, and the one thing that I've really been considering is just, do I actually want Recover, or would I do better with Ice Beam, and then it's kind of like, well, now Gastrodon is one of our hitters, like, but Recover can actually be really useful, even though we have Pollen Puff and Agua Berry, so I still think there's a lot of give and take to that, right? But ultimately, it's more of like a we'll see type of thing, but also like a let me know if you think one would be better than the other type of thing. Thirdly, we have the Safety Goggles Arcanine with the Water Terra, Flare Blitz, Will-O-Wisp, E-Speed, Protect. Safety Goggles Arc is really good for dealing with Amoonguss, which can be a problem for this team if I don't bring the right Pokemon. And the Intimidate is obviously really useful for enabling things like Bronzong to get set up, or Amoonguss to just live things, and, you know, so like Intimidate ultimately just really useful, right? Fourthly, you know, we do have that Dark Terra Amoonguss. Like, really it's just Dark Terra because, like, I don't have the Terra Shards to make it a Water Terra, but I think Water Terra is kind of the best right now on Amoonguss, and, you know, it is what it is. Like, we've got Protect, Spore, Pollen Puff, Rage Powder. I do think this is a better set, like, and I like being able to protect in front of Earthquake, right? So, we've got that. And, going on to the Choice Band Tinglu, it is the Poison Terra, Earthquake, Rock Slide, Throat Chop, Heavy Slam. We really are just here to do damage. Like, I felt like the AV one was great and all, but, like, I didn't want to run Swords Dance Iron Hands actually in this case, like, which, I mean, it's like, I have Amoonguss, so actually Swords Dance Iron Hands is really good on a team like this, but I also felt like I was using too many berries, is what I really felt like, and so, like, instead of putting a Mago Berry on my Iron Hands and then taking off Volt Switch for Swords Dance, like, we have Volt Switch. And I think that's actually going to be kind of nice if we're being honest. So, you know, like, common leads on this team are going to be Iron Hands Bronzong. Amoonguss Bronzong is one of our best leads. Arcanine Amoonguss, Arcanine Iron Hands, Arcanine Tinglu Skada. I actually really think that this team has the most leads out of any of the teams that we've looked at so far, and that's really nice. So, you know, like, I think this team's gonna do well. I really do. Like, I'm gonna try to, like, play as much earlier as I can instead of playing it all on the last day and getting wrecked. But, like, yeah, even though it's a hard TR team, kinda, like, it can really thrive outside of TR with the amount of damage and bulk that it has, and I'm liking it. So, you know, you got the team if you want to try it. going on to our fourth team. This is one of the teams we built in our live streams. I did do a few live streams recently where I was just like building teams with you guys, which I thought was fun, but like I also like to ramble, and it's a lot funner to ramble when people ask me things instead of me just rambling. So in the top corner we've got that Covert Cloak Talonflame with Steel Terra, actually not Ghost Terra. I just really never used. I've never felt like I really needed Ghost Terra that bad on Talonflame, and like Steel Terra is really useful against things like T-Tar, right? And so yeah, I like this set. I'm actually trying King's Rock Garchomp on this team, which is not the best way to run Garchomp. I forget what I was thinking about using besides that. It was just Rocky Helmet, right? Like, I think Citrus Berry Garchomp could actually be really good, so like, it would probably be Citrus, sorry, if I wasn't running King's Rock, but like, you can activate King's Rock with Rock Slide with the heightened chance, Iron Head heightened chance, and even Earthquake can activate King's Rock, I'm pretty sure. So, we've got that. Going on, we've got the Defiant Kingambit, great for stopping things that want to use Intimidate to slow our team down, right? Flying Terra. We've got Iron Head, Kowtow Cleave, Terra Blast, and the Sucker Punch, or as I like to say, Uckers, which is apparently like the English way of saying ugly. It's slang for an ugly person in Britain. But we've got Uckers, and yeah, I mean, it's a pretty standard Kingambit set. So there's that. Going on, we have Life Orb, Water Terra, Azumarill. So I've actually found this to be really useful. Like, Life Orb Liquidation can OHKO a Tingler, and with the Terra, Life Orb Terra Liquidation. So like, it's pretty nice. I don't think I've tried it without the Terra, so like, I can't really. I should just do the calc, right? Like, but I haven't done the calc, so it's hard to say. Going on, we have Booster Energy Fluttermane with Speed Boost. And the real idea behind that is that, like, if I don't want to lead something like Talonflame, I can lead Flutter Garchomp or Flutter Chi-Yu, and I can click Icy Wind Rock Slide, or, you know, Icy Wind Heat Wave is going to be one of your better leads, right? And so, like, you'll outspeed your Chi-Yu with the Booster Energy, you'll click Icy Wind, you'll guaranteed be faster than other things with Chi-Yu if they have Booster Energy too, right? And so, like, to some degree, I think Speed Boost, Booster Energy, and Choice Scarf Chi-Yu is a little bit redundant. Like, I think possibly Specs Chi-Yu would be better on this team, but I think it just provides a little bit of extra versatility in a way that's like, people are not always going to expect it, right? And like, sometimes you just gotta go fast. Like, let's be honest, you just gotta go fast. You know, Ricky Bobby will tell you this. And so, common leads on this team, obviously, Talonchomp, Talonflut, Talon Chi-Yu. I mean, like, you can lead Talon with kinda anything, right? Like, I've led, like, Kingambit Azu. Kingambit's a really good lead just because of the amount of bulk and damage that it can put on, right? So, like, Kingambit Flut, Kingambit Azu, like, can all be, like, really threatening leads. I think this is another team that, like, the leads feel so, like, you have so many good leads that it's like, okay, what am I gonna do? Like, and so, yeah, I mean, this is a really solid team. Like, the most of the times that I've lost, it was to, like, missing things, and it's really unfortunate, but that's how the game goes. Like, I missed a play rough and lost, I missed a heat wave and lost. Like, it sucks to use low accuracy moves, especially when they're not low accuracy. Like, it's like, bro, you literally have 90%, like, how are you gonna miss all the time? Like, but it be like that. So, good stuff. And then going on to our last team, we do have that Gallade team that we showed in the last video. that we built in our last live stream. So, Choice Scarf Gallade. I do think that, like, Leaf Blade feels like it'd be better than Aqua Cutter sometimes. But Aqua Cutter's a move, you know, it can do a lot of damage. And to Arcanine, I've definitely found it to be underwhelming, even still in that case. And, like, Leaf Blade would be really nice for something like Gastrodon versus this team. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of give and take, honestly. Like, locking into Leaf Blade could be good at times, so I'm just gonna leave that out there. Like, this is our team for now. I think it's good enough, but Leaf Blade could be good. We've got Life Orb Champel to do more damage than people expect. We have Sucker Punch, Sacred Sword, and Ice Spinner. I actually think this is an amazing Life Orb set. Like, Sacred Sword is really useful, and like, Throat Chop is great and all, but like, Sucker Punch pressures things. It's like, well, you can't attack right now. Like, so I could have Throat Chop, but like, then I would have to move second, and I could just click Sucker Punch and pressure them into not trying to attack, right? Like, but that being said, you know, like, versus something like a Goldango, like, you know, it'd be really nice to not get nasty plotted on, but we do have, you know, Heat Wave and Shadow Ball too, right? So it's not like that big of a problem. Poison Terra Champel, I do think that Ghost Terra makes a lot of sense. I just don't have the Terra Shards, so there's that. We've got the Black Sludge Amoonguss with Pollen Puff because I think that, like, you want Citrus Berry more often than you would want Agua Berry, and Black Sludge just gets that residual healing anyways that can, like, add up even more. The disbenefit is that you really don't want a Terra when you have Black Sludge, and, like, I actually think knocking myself out with Black Sludge helped me win in one of the games yesterday, but, like, that being said, sometimes you Terra and then you start taking Black Sludge damage and you're like, wait, this is bad, like, but it is what it is, and it's what we've got. So, sorry, I have a lot of hair, and I have to, you know, get it out of my face. But, yeah, Citrus Berry Gyarados on this team with the support, I actually really like this Gyarados. Like, Waterfall, Taunt, Thunder Wave, EQ is a great moveset, if you ask me. So, that's what we got. I do think that, like, Flying Terra Blast can also be really good, though. We've got the Icy Wind, Shadow Ball, D-Gleam, Flutter Mane, and this time we actually have a Focus Sash Shield. So, you know, we can click Protect. We can live one hit if we need to. And, in fact, I have actually gotten benefit out of that, like, versus a Garchomp one time. So, you know, it's pretty nice. And, yeah, I mean, like I said, I just felt really comfortable with the Amoonguss, Gyarados, Splat, Chi-Yu core. And so, like, even when the other stuff maybe is, like, not feeling great, we can still use what we've got to pretty good success, and that's pretty nice. So, common leads, I mean, you can do, like, Gallade Amoonguss, you can do Chi-Yu Amoonguss, Gyarados Amoonguss. I really like Amoonguss. It sucks that Amoonguss is so good, doesn't it? Like, because it just clicks Spore and it's a problem. It's like, if you're not dealing with Amoonguss, you're having a bad time. Like, but, yeah, so, I mean, Amoonguss, Chi-Yu, Gyarados Amoonguss, Chi-Yu Flut. I think we started, like, Gallade Flut one time and saw pretty good success because it, like, hard pressured a Terra out of something. Like, you can also do, like, Chi-Yu Gallade to hard pressure things, like a Terra style on Amoonguss. I'm losing my train of thought, and I don't really think it's that important, honestly. But, like, you know, you can hard pressure things by, like, leading Gallade and saying, like, okay, I'm going to click this specific move that stops you if you have this Terra, and if you don't use that Terra, then I just kill you with Chi or Flutter Mane, right? So, like, ultimately, it's really good. I think it was actually a Chi where we could have started Gallade Fluttermane and clicked Shadow Ball Sacred Sword into it, right? And like that automatically deals with if they have Ghost Terra, right? So we got that. But talking about the teams really quick before we wrap up, the last thing I usually like to do is just to like rank them on a scale of 1 to 5. I'm gonna say this is probably our worst team for the month. Like, it's cool and all. Like, Torkoal is good, Mimikyu is good, but like, this team is kind of blah, if I'm being honest. Wow, these other teams are pretty solid. I'm gonna put Gallade fourth. I'm gonna say like 5, or I mean, yeah, 5, 4. One of these teams is probably gonna be third. Like, I actually think these 3 teams look really consistent. Like, I'm going to say this team is third just because it's slightly more off meta. I'm going to put these 2 teams in tied for second because I think my GC team does, like, actually need to, like, focus its whole game plan sometimes around dealing with a Moongus, and, like, that's not really good. So, like, I'm going to put these 2 tied for second, and, like, sure, we'll leave the Gilmore team as first. So, hope you guys enjoyed the vid. Even though my face was covering things a little bit, but like, hey, we gotta get used to it, man. We gotta get used to bringing the boy back. So, thank y'all for tuning in. Do consider, letting me know how the teams are if you've tried them, or leaving a like and subscribe or comment if you are not. So, if you are not, have a good one, y'all. Hey, look, it's me.